The stuff I may talk about might be borderline.
They could push the economy into a recession. It'll be painful. Jobs will be lost and businesses will suffer.
With all the interest rate increases that we have, we went up 4% last year. Is this overcorrecting to a certain point?
The Bank of Canada has increased its trend-setting interest rates by 50 basis points. It is the 7th consecutive interest rate hike.
Is that what they're trying to do? Do they really want to be bankrupting some people?
Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker. And today, I got Chris from behind the camera, in front of the camera.
Yep.
So Chris runs our social media and he does these videos for us. But the stuff that you guys don't see is that we always have a background conversation before we start because we have a lot of opinions about what's kind of happening in the market in general. So today I decided to say, hey, Chris, get in front of the camera because the stuff I may talk about might be borderline a little bit today. So I just want someone else here to take some of the heat.
He needs someone else to help him get canceled, pretty much.
Exactly. But what I really wanted to talk about today is that, hey, and not to be a conspiracy theorist or anything else like that, but it's like, is the Canadian government really going to bankrupt all of us? It feels kind of scary,
yeah,
right? With all the interest rate increases that we have, we went up 4% last year, and there is still talk about another interest rate increase. I don't know if this is going to come out by that time, but Jan 25th, there's talk about it, and it seems like it's still likely that they're going to do a 25% increase.
At least.
Yeah, at least.
That's what people are thinking, right?
Yeah. So, I guess one of the thoughts that have been running through my head, and I chatted with some people on Instagram that have messaged me about it as well, is that, all the rate increases that we've done, right? Sure, there is some kind of short-term benefit to the government that they see right away, but are we really increasing this too quickly to see the long-term effect of what's going on? Is this overcorrecting to a certain point? And that's kind of what I'm getting concerned about.
But also you have to kind of think about, is that what they're trying to do? Do they really want to overcorrect it?
Yeah.
So that we do get into that area where it's kind of like we're going to be bankrupting some people.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of scary though, right? You would think that your government is there to kind of protect you. And I'm not going on about this government or that government, but just in general, you pay your taxes, you're a citizen, whatever else like that. You would think that you have some kind of protection. The government is going to look after you. But and I know that we're in a very volatile position right now based on what's been going on, but it just seems like to me that there probably were better actions to take and take things a little bit slowly. But it just seems like the only thing that our government is after is a 2% inflation rate.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I'm not an economist. I don't know it that well, but it just seems like in today's world that might be old news. Maybe 2% is not achievable anymore, and maybe the right number is 4%.
Yeah.
And are we just chasing something that doesn't actually exist or something that we can't control anymore? Maybe our rate of growth is 4% and we got to get used to it.
You never know. The way that I've been thinking about it recently is a little bit differently. You have your 2% and we always were pretty consistently hitting that 2% inflation rate every year. And what were we doing? We had low rates and we had we didn't have quantitative easing or anything like that. We had a process where we were keeping at 2% pretty steadily.
Yep.
And then the one thing that kind of bumped it up to where we were actually experiencing crazy inflation was they started printing money.
Yep.
So that was a reaction to the vid hitting the world.
Yeah.
Their reaction to that was printing money. And from that printing money, now we're hitting crazy inflation.
Yeah.
So what's their idea behind this? Are they trying to bring it back down to the 2% yearly inflation, or are they trying to bring it lower than that?
Yeah.
So are they trying to lower that inflation down and then hit that 2% yearly increase?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, everything that we're talking about when we go into the numbers and everything's year over year data.
Yeah.
So what we're starting to see now with the reports that came out are that we're seeing negative data. So everything's decreasing.
Yep.
We're actually having prices go down and inflation go down and all that kind of stuff. So once we hit that peak where we started seeing it increase, are we going to be seeing negative inflation or are we going to see positive inflation?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the big thing that's going to make a difference.
For sure. Yeah. Like I agree. And that's kind of the, like where I think the concern also is that, with the rates that gone up, the way that the things are going right now, and the way that they aggressively increase the interest rate as well. Like I know so many people right now that are, I don't want to say struggling, but they're getting to a point of saying like, how much longer can we actually maintain this? Like, I know people that are first time home buyers there, and they went on a variable with possibly like Bank or something else like that, and their payment has gone up like $700. I know someone that's payment's gone up $2,200.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like how long? Like I don't think these people were banking that $700 previously or that $2,200.
Yeah.
This is stuff that they have to take their kids out of, programs that they got to take their kids out of, make some cutbacks, and actually try to float. But how long do you go on with something like that too?
Yeah.
And the other thing also is that, like, I don't know, like they're probably working on stuff, and how do we know, right? But the thing is that I don't really see anything coming up right now of how they're going to actually help people out. So, so the one thing that the government did when the pandemic hit is that they basically started to lower the interest rate quite a bit, and basically assured everyone that says, go ahead, spend, everything is going to be fine. Interest rates are not going to go up for a very, very long time. They basically gave this false sense of security to people, and as soon as I'm trying to find a better way of saying, but as soon as like things started to go sideways, boom, 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 they didn't care about what they said, and they didn't care about the people they promised that this is not going to happen to. They started raising the rates, and these are the same people I feel like that are getting affected.
Yeah.
They were basically like, go ahead, buy that house, go ahead, do this, go ahead, do this. What are we going to come up with right now to help these people out? Like that's what I don't see, I don't know. I've mentioned this to some people as well, is like, I don't know. I think a smart thing that they can do, and it's within their control, and I'm not saying to do it for new mortgages, but like refinancing, like say they got a rate of like 1.5% or something like that, whereas they're going to have to go and get a rate of like 5.5% right now, like a 4-point increase. Number one, if they qualify for it, great. But the other thing is that the payments are still going to be really, really high on that. And right now your max amortization is going to be 30 years. Like,
yeah.
These people with variable interest, right? What happened? They took the money from the principal and put it into the interest. So automatically what happened is that their amortization got increased, right? Even if you had a 30-year amortization, you're probably at 42 years right now, based on what happened. And when these guys to come to renew, I think the only fair thing that we could do, and I'm not sure how it's going to affect the overall economy, I'm just thinking from my perspective, is that why not introduce that 40-year amortization? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying for new mortgages to get more people in trouble. I'm saying the people that are, at this point of where they're in a lot of trouble, I think that would be a really good idea, but I don't see anything coming forward.
Yeah.
And I, honestly, like I'm starting to see some houses that were sold 18 months ago, 2 years ago, and they're coming back onto the market. And I'm actually calling up some of these agents, and whether they should tell me or not, I'm trying to find out what's going on here. And some of them are telling me, hey, they got a very good rate. They got a 1-year rate. And now look at where the rates are. They can't even qualify back for the mortgage. They actually cannot get a mortgage.
It's so sad that that's like what it's coming to. Even someone I was talking to the other day was telling me, because I just bought a place maybe 3 years ago. So we were having a conversation like, oh, did you get a fixed rate? Did you get a variable rate? What was your rate? Blah, blah, blah. And then we got into talking. I told him that I was on a fixed rate from 3 years ago. So it's it's good compared to now.
Sure.
And he was saying, he was like, oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
And I was like, lucky. Like it was normal to do that like back in the day, like fixed 5-year fixed rate.
Yeah.
He was like, no, you're lucky because I have to renew mine next month and I'm screwed.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay, now I get why I'm lucky, right?
Yeah, because you probably still have a little bit of runway on that one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like in my mind, hopefully the rates are going to be coming down by the time I have to renew.
Yeah.
But if you were stuck in that period where it was like you were on a 5-year fix and your 5 years coming up.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Especially if you had it to the max.
Yeah.
Like you just got into the place that you could just afford.
Barely get into. Yeah.
And like, let's say that you didn't increase your income, you didn't get a raise at work, you didn't get a new job, anything like that. How are you supposed to afford that?
Have you actually paid off too, though? That's the other thing, right?
That's
like
true.
in 5 years, like how much did you actually pay off? Most people probably didn't pay off a whole lot of it because the huge chunk of it at the starting of your mortgage is going towards your interest just to service the debt, right? So it's going to be hard. Like if you have to, like, I don't know, maybe they got a 3-point interest rate at that point or something like that, right? Now you're going to go back and qualify at almost 6 points. Like that's very dangerous. So like, and these are the people I'm kind of like worried for. Is like, what's going to happen? What is the government going to do for the?
Yeah.
Are they going to let them fail?
I don't know. Like, in my opinion, I feel like they almost want a small chunk to start failing before they make a change to do something. Like, they really want to like put that fear into everyone to like not spend in a certain way. So what are they going to do? I don't know, but the rate that they're moving, it always seems like they're behind the ball. Yeah. So they're behind the ball to make a correction. Yeah. And I'm sure like one way they were in, like it took them a while to start printing out money, which was their way of combating everything. And then once they noticed that there was tons of inflation, it took them a while before they started hiking rates. Yeah. So I feel like it's just going to be that boomerang again, where it's going to be like, they're going to wait too long. People are going to start really feeling it, and then they're going to make that change.
And that's kind of what I wanted to circle back to as well is that, you know, when all this stuff was going down with the pandemic starting, my theory was this. My theory is that we shouldn't be printing the money.
Yeah.
What we did was we put a Band-Aid over the whole thing. And I think we spent too much money on putting this Band-Aid on this thing. And it's clear, like there's been so many things that have come up that why'd you spend money on this? Why'd you spend money on this? And a lot of it, they can't even justify, right? Yeah. Like what was that? There was like even that app, right? Like Arrive Can app or whatever, where they spent tons of money on this thing and they basically got broken down. Like it didn't make any sense.
No one even wanted to use it or anything like that.
Exactly. And it was a pain in the ass to use it. Like if you ever had to come back, it was so annoying to use this thing. Yeah. But, you know, they spent so much money. So my thing was when it started to hit and I was thinking, hey, why are we spending this money to put a Band-Aid solution on something that we're going to have to fix afterwards? And I'm not saying let the people fail when they were going to fail at that point, but I think we would have been in less of an issue at this point right now if we just kind of, if people were over leveraged at that point and something else happened, I think that maybe they should have tried to find solutions for those things at that point right there instead of printing out all this money and freely handing out. And they put this massive Band-Aid on it. And this Band-Aid it wasn't able to hold that scar. Do you know what I mean? Like this is like ripping out really bad. And I think it's actually turning out into being a worse situation because you didn't address the problem that was going to happen there. Instead, you printed a ton of money and then you encouraged other people to take on a lot more debt than they probably should have by this false sense of security that it's going to stay this way. And now you're going to leave them out to dry. Yeah. Like that's what I feel. And, you know, I'm sure people are going to watch this video and say, hey, you're a real estate agent. You made these sales and you got these people into trouble. But I don't care if that's what people say. Because if anyone really knows me, I'm the first guy to say, hey, don't over leverage yourself. Don't do this. Keep your house. Don't sell it. Like, so whatever people want to say, I'm cool with it. But and like, it's not our intention.
Even then, like at the time, like, no one has a crystal ball. No one knew if everything was going to just keep on climbing and climbing and climbing. They're just going to keep on printing money, or if they were going to pull, like basically turn around.
If they had some sensible plan, like I don't know what they were doing. I thought maybe they have a sensible plan of what they're doing. But when you start to see these things unravel, you start to lose confidence in what's going on. And I have to say, like, I obviously based on this podcast, most of you guys have gathered that I've lost confidence in what's kind of happening over here. And I feel like we're really driving blindly. And again, like the main reason for this topic here is that I think that my opinion is, and I don't know everything, obviously, but like I think that with the increased interest rates and how quickly that they've gone to, I just really hope that we haven't overcorrected in the long term. Like, sure, they're not seeing month over month, they're not seeing this number come down. And then so they continue to increase the interest rate because they don't see the number coming down. But man, like there's like a short-term effect of something and a long-term effect of something. Do you know what I mean? And I think the long-term effect of this is going to be quite negative if they don't start to steer the ship in a different direction.
I think they're going to eventually like make that change.
But to your point, is it going to be too late?
Yeah, exactly. Is it going to be too late? Yeah. Like, is it going to be to a point where people are going bankrupt and there's so many jobs that people don't have where it's going to like be a lingering effect that's going to be years and years before we're able to recover from it, right? Yeah. If it was perfect where they can be like, okay, we hit the point, it's time to turn like slowly and this and that, where we can make it like work. Yeah. That would be perfect, but that's in a dream world.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. And I have to say, like, again, talking about the government and maybe getting a little bit sidetracked too, there are different things that are happening that just don't make sense to me, right? Like, I get it that we do have a lot of space. Our housing is still tight. Our immigration is very, very, very strong right now. We're bringing in all these people and we already have a housing issue right now. Mm-hmm. Even though that the market is not turning so quickly, we still have a housing issue, in my opinion. Like, it's not like the inventory has skyrocketed. The builders developers are scared to start building because they're not sure where the market is actually going. And I think that we are causing a bigger problem for ourselves. That being said, like we end up, for some reason, we end up doing a bunch of rentals too, which is fine. But sometimes we put up these places for like $2,400-$2,500, and we get these applications from these agents saying like, hey, listen, I have a client, they just landed in Canada, there's no credit score, there's no references, there's no employment, there's no nothing, but don't worry about it, the government is taking care of it.
Oh.
So for 1 year, the government is guaranteeing that they're going to give $2,400. Guaranteed.
Really?
Bro, guaranteed. We had like 7-8 of these applications come through. I'm disgusted, I want to almost say. Do you know what I mean? Like we're bringing in these people, which is fine. I'm all about helping people. Bring them in, okay? But let's have a plan of what we're going to do and who are we bringing in? Like, why do we have to support them where we're already in this crunch? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like just, I don't know, decisions like that, it's kind of scary to me, right?
Mm-hmm. So with everything that we're facing now, like where do you think, like if we went one way where we're able to perfectly land this plane, what's it look like for us in the real estate market versus if everything goes to shit?
Yeah. I mean, who really knows? My opinion is that if we somehow magically land this thing correctly, I think what's going to end up happening is, at least for 2023, we're going to see an even market. Okay. So my idea is that in January 25th, when they probably do this interest rate increase, if they don't do really anything else after that, I think the market is going to have to adjust. People are going to have to get trading normally. I think the Toronto Real Estate Board is probably going to do similar sales of what they did last year. I think we'll probably do 75 to 85,000 transactions. I think it's going to be an even year if they stop with this interest rate increase. I think people will have time to adjust. And I think maybe towards the end of the year, my guess is, or maybe early next year, they will have time to see how this thing played out with the interest rate increases. I think inflation will come into line. I personally think that 2% is not an achievable target anymore. That's my opinion. I think the world has evolved, our country has evolved, and I think we're pretty much going to have to settle for 4% inflation. It's just what it is. We're going to have to settle for that. We're becoming more advanced, and that's what it's going to be. And I think that we should have an even year. We should have like a interest rate decreases maybe towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. And I think things should flow reasonably well after that, because people just need time to land and adjust and see what's going on. Yeah. At the same time, I think we're going to see the fallout. Like there is going to be some families that are going to pay the price of like maybe buying a little bit more of an expensive property, maybe trusting the government on saying that the interest rate isn't going to increase. Maybe they thought they were going to have time to pay off this property a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe their plans change because of employment changes and how the economy changed. I think for sure we're going to have some falling out, but I think for the most part, people are going to be able to get through this thing if we don't have too much of a crazy increase. Now, on the flip side of it, if I think everything goes nuts, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to fail, including myself. I personally have a lot of balls in the air right now. So far, we've been lucky enough that we've been able to maintain it, but like if things keep going the way that they are going, and if we have another 7 rate increases, I think like even people like I talk about myself like having holding power. I'm not going to have that holding power. It's not going to work. Yeah. Because more people are going to end up failing, and it's going to be hard to kind of keep up.
It'll kind of be like a trickle down with everything. Like 100%. One person will fail, and then that'll just lead to next one. It
is going to go. It's going to go that way, and that's why I'm kind of getting concerned. And I've never really want to be political, especially in the business I am in, and on this platform. I don't want to get political, but I'm starting to see some concerns over here that is going to affect people if we don't get things right sooner than later. Yeah, I think we still have a good opportunity of like evening things out. And fine about the interest rate. And I know everyone's like, oh, interest rate is so high. It's so high. When I was 21 in 2004, my first mortgage was 5%, right? And I'm sure our parents can tell us about it being 12 and 18% and whatever else like that. But for me, in my own life experience, when I was 21, it was 5%. The next place I bought when I was 24, I think, that was 5.4%. And that was normal. Yeah. 5%, 5.4, it was normal. You know what I mean?
So like the 1, 2, 3% is just abnormal.
It was not normal. Yeah. And my opinion is that when this whole thing balances out, I think we're going to land somewhere around 4%. Yeah. I think for people to arrange mortgages at 4%, 4.5% is going to be normal. That's healthy, I think. Yeah. So if you guys are banking on things going to like 2%, I don't think
going
that's
back
happening.
To 1.
Yeah, I personally, unless we've really overcorrected this and they really need to flip the engine the other way.
I've heard some people say that was going to happen, but I feel like if they do that, we're just going to end up in the same position as we are now.
If that happens, in my opinion, we've really failed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, think about how bad situation has to get to for you to be back at 1% interest rate.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that would be really scary. So I'm really optimistic and hoping that things kind of even out this year. The government doesn't do anything too weird. Hopefully we can introduce some programs to help people that already have existing mortgages that are going to have to renew, not new mortgages, but like renew their existing mortgage, kind of give them a break, help them out. Like, let's implement a 40-year amortization so these guys don't go under. It's not like something we haven't done before.
Exactly.
Yeah, like 40-year amortizations have existed in the past where we have helped people out, right? So I think we need to throw them this lifeline over here and do something to help these guys out.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, like, I know this is going on a little bit, but it's funny how they're doing certain things, making it seem like they're going to help people get into new houses. So like the whole foreign buyers like ban and taxing the vacant land or vacant properties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like they're helping people get into places and moving in, like first time home buyers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you're also looking at these people that need to renew, and now the rates are so high that they won't be able to afford it. So like it's been like this for the past couple of years that we've been working together. Like there's always one thing that shows like they're doing a good job or doing something to benefit you. And then on the other hand, it's like, well, where's the help for this other group?
For sure. But even that, like, to me, it's smoke and mirrors. Like, okay, maybe I don't deal with that many foreign investors or whatever else like that. And to brag about myself a little bit, like, we're not small time. We're not playing small time, right? Like, rank like top 0.5% in Toronto real estate, where we're doing enough transactions that we get to meet enough type of people and whatever else like that. I don't really come across these cases that they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure there's vacant homes. I'm sure there's foreign investment and a bunch of it too. But what percentage? What percentage are we really dealing at? Do you know what I mean? I think this is just to put it out there to say, oh, look at all the stuff we're trying to do for you. But I don't think that's really going to have a huge impact on things.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. I based on how I deal with people and what they're doing with their properties, they're all occupied. I haven't had crazy amount of foreign investors come and tell me they want to buy out a block and keep it empty. I haven't had that. I had foreign investors say, hey, we're looking to move to Canada and we need to buy a house. I've had that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and they'll be living here.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think we really have to evaluate what they're trying to fix and how much percentage is actually affecting it. At the end of the day, if we're trying to fix something that's affecting 1 or 3% or 5% of the whole thing, I think we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
We got to be focused of what you said is like, hey, we got a bunch of people in this situation over here that have 1.5%, 2% mortgages, and they're actually going to come up for renewal and they're not going to make it. Yeah. We're going to end up putting this family out on the street. And that really bothers me. Mm-hmm. These are the people, that's a greater percentage of people that we should be actually be doing something to help out.
Yeah. And at least paying attention to what's happening there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, hey, that's my take on it. I've thrown some cover to myself by inviting Chris onto this podcast at the same time. Any final thoughts about where you think things are going to happen?
We'll see. I don't know. No one has a crystal ball. So if they ever tell you, like, they know exactly where it's going to head, like...
Let us know.
Let us know, because we wish we knew too.
Yeah. And guys, you know what? This wasn't a closed conversation. I really want to hear what you guys think. I've reached out to people myself and just said, hey, these are my thoughts about it. What do you guys think? And I really want to encourage people to like message us, call us, leave us comments. No one's right or wrong in the situation. Really want to know what you guys think and what you guys think that could be possible solutions to people that are renewing. I'm really concerned about that. So I really want to know, what ideas do you guys have? Or are you in the situation where you're going to have to renew and you're running into some issues over here? Share with us. Hey, the more information that we share, I think we can all come out further ahead in this.
Even if there's anyone out there that's watching these and they have some insight on what's happening behind the scenes,
let us know.
Let us know.
Hey, better yet, why don't you DM us and come on to this podcast and share with everybody? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Until next time, remember one thing. Get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.